Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Good day, everybody. Welcome to today's class. And in today's class, we are going to be talking about CRON jobs with NodeJs, unit test integration, units and integration tests using jest.io and supertests. And I'm not sure we'll be able to finish both topics in this class, but we are going to try our best to finish both topics. Right. Um, No, so let me explain, right? What we are going to start with cron jobs, right? And there's this challenge of trying to set a task, right, that should be done at a future date, right? So for example, what if you want your users to be able to, or let's take for example, you're trying to set up a newsletter, right? And you want that newsletter to be sent every Friday, but you want it in such a way that you can set up the newsletter, maybe edit it at any time, but once it is Friday, you should automatically send it to maybe all your customers, you know? And or sometimes you want something to be done at a particular date, you know, maybe you want to send a reminder, or you want users to be able to set reminder to something at a particular date, right? So there's this platform, I can't remember, I think it is Future Notes also. So you can choose that, oh, in a year from now, it should send you a note. It should send back a note to you telling you that you said maybe 1 year later you'd be so and so person, or you do so and so thing, or it should be reminding you every month of a particular thing you were supposed to do or something, right? So you can use something like cron job to manage that. Okay, you can use something like cron job to manage that, right? Now, cron job is used to schedule tasks, right? Okay, yeah, it's called Future Me. Yeah, Matilda, yeah, Future Me. Okay, so you can use something like cron job to manage that, right? So when they send, or when they schedule it, maybe by providing a date or something, then you on the back end create that task, that schedule, and other task, and then make it that task run. So that task would be maybe sending email to different users at a particular time or something. Right. Then, so that's about cron job. Then the next thing that we'll talk about later on is unit and integration testing. So testing is important um in programming, and I'll tell you why. Now, what's the usefulness of testing, right? So when you test, right? Wait, so now there's manual test and there's like automated test. What we normally do every day, right? When you, like what we've been doing before since we started was manual testing. You go to Postman or use REST client, you go and click to send a request, and then you look at the response and judge by the response if what is going on is correct or not. But then you want a situation where maybe you can write an automated test. If you write a test once, and anytime you want that test suite to, execute or to be executed, you just run a particular line of code, and then it does all the testing for you, and it gives you a summary of what's passed and what failed. Okay. So that's where jest and super test come in. Okay, and then you guys can see that there is what is called unit testing and there's what is called integration testing. Now, a unit is just one thing, right? So when you say you're writing unit test, you're writing a test to test one particular feature, right? But that feature could be an endpoint, it could be a screen, it could be a component, right? right? So unit test is used to just test one particular feature. For example, maybe if you're writing a code to add products to back end, right? Or to the database, right? You can, that one endpoint can have a unit test. It could have its own unit test. So that unit test for that endpoint is just going to be used to test that particular endpoint. Another endpoint can have its own separate unit test. Maybe an endpoint to delete maybe a product that can be a different unit testing, a different unit test on its own. Okay. And the rest, and you execute unit test one like one by one. So if you want to test adding products, you go and execute only that test. Then if you want to test deleting products, you have to come and execute the deleting product test. But then integration test is usually a couple of tests, right? So let's take, for example, you want to test all the endpoints that have to do with adding with products. So viewing a list of products, adding a product, modifying a product, modifying a product status, deleting a product. All those are lists of things you want to do to I was saying that integration test is a couple of tests, right? Is a couple of tests in a test suite. So if you want to test like 5 endpoints at the same time, 10 endpoints at the same time, 20 endpoints at the same time. So imagine you're trying to test like more than one endpoint, right? So that's no more a unit test. That's actually an end-to-end test, right? And most tests are usually integration tests or end-to-end. Okay, so that's the main difference between unit and integration tests, right? So some people say integration test is used to test the whole platform, right? While end-to-end test is used to test some group of features, right? But well, any anyhow you want to view it actually, but I usually call my own like tests for a particular set of endpoints integration tests. Then you use jest, right, to make assertions, like to check if something is equal to something, if something is greater than something, or this is less than something, or the rest. While you use super test to make the requests. So in place of super test, you could also use Axios. You can use Axios, but it's a super test that is recommended to use when you're working with jest.io. So that's it. Now let's talk about cron jobs, right? Let's see. So we are going to talk about cron job expression and then setting up with jest.io, setting up testing with jest.io. Now, this is uh a chart, right? A simple chart showing how you can add jest.io values, right? Or if you want to write jest.io values, how you're going to structure them. Okay, so the first asterisk, we'll see how we can use this, right? You can actually screenshot this. The first asterisk you have here is the day of the week. The second one is the month, right? The third day is the day of the month, right? Or the third asterisk is the day of the month. The fourth one is the hour, the fifth one is the minute, and the sixth one is the second. And this sixth one is optional. Optional. So you might just have like 5 asterisks or 6 asterisks, right? Or 5 values or 6 values, depending on you. But if you don't have the sixth one, then the last one would be the minutes instead of the second. Okay, so we are going to see how we can write this, right? Using VS Code. And I think I should reshare my screen at this point. So let me reshare my screen. Um, So let's see. Let's see how we can do this. So we have okay, so let's see how we can do this. First, there are several libraries that does scheduling, right? There are plenty of them. In fact, if we search on it, we'll see. But there is a specific one we'd want to use. So I think I should just go back to the browser and show you what I mean. Um, okay, so let's say cron. So I think it's node cron. Oh, I've not even said. Wow. So there's also what is called node cron, a big cron generator, because now it's not everybody that understands or is familiar with how to generate those cron asterisks, right? So you can try any of this. I think I'll just skip to, or there's even an npm this thing. Okay, so let's come here. Let's see what's out. I think I'll use node cron. I'll use node cron. So let's see how we can actually schedule some tasks, some few tasks. Right. Uh, didn't I click on this? It's supposed to come up. Okay. So first, right, this cron job module is a tiny scheduler in pure JavaScript based on GNU cron tab, whatever that means. This allows you to schedule tasks in Node using full cron tab syntax. Okay. Is there half cron tab syntax? Cron tab syntax. Okay, so first you would install it by doing npm install node cron. Don't worry, this save is by default. Anytime you write npm install then a package, it's automatically saved. So you don't really need to add that. Okay, and see what I was saying, right? For example, if you want a task to run every minute, right? You just put the all the asterisks, all asterisks, just put it there and it will make the task run per minute, like each and every minute. And when you schedule a task like this, what is usually returned from scheduling this task is the task ID. That's the ID of that task as you schedule it. Then you can always use that ID to cancel that task later on. And of course, when you schedule a task, it's always good practice to, if you're doing it on the back end, you save the details of that task, like the task ID, the task title, maybe the dates where that task is supposed to be executed. You save it somewhere on the back end, right? So if someone wants to see a list of tasks that's running, maybe cancel a task and all those stuff, right? Or maybe update a task, the person will be able to do it. Okay, so let's see more. Okay, we are even coming back to see the same thing here. So this first one is seconds, minutes, hour, day, and day of the week, and the rest. So seconds could be 0 to 59. This one is optional, minutes, and the rest. Yeah. So let's write something already. Let's write something about cron already. Um. Okay. Let me reshare my screen. Let me reshare my screen and we'll use node cron. So we'll say npm install node cron, npm install node cron, and let's wait for it to finish installing, and then we are going to see how we can use it to do something. So I'll show you how to create a reoccurring task, and I'll show you how to create if a task that should run only once. Okay, so I'll show you how to create both those two, and then we'll move to unit and integration testing with jest.io and super test. So I'm waiting for this to install. So what I've said so far about CRON test, I hope, or CRON jobs, I hope you guys understand. I hope you guys, nobody's confused about what's CRON job stands for and its use. Is anybody that's confused? Okay. So since there's nobody that's confused at this point, I'll proceed. Why is this taking too long? This is taking quite long, but then maybe we can then do something like app.use. Then I want to create an endpoint. I'll call it schedule, and then I'll say message router. Maybe I'll create a schedule route. Now, mind you, you can do cron jobs without creating any schedule or anything. You can actually do cron jobs without that. Okay. But then I want to be able to save my cron job on the back end also. So I would maybe come here on the router. I would create a router called cron router.js. I'll just come here and copy some of these things because I don't want to start setting them up from scratch. Then the next thing is to export, right? To export this that way. Then the next thing we want to do is we want to say router is equals to express the router. Then the next thing to do is you say router dot host, and then I'll just say let me see what I called it here. I think I called it. Maybe I'll say scheduler, and then here I'll say schedule schedule. Then this should carry a request response, maybe a next. Then I'll have a try and catch. Console.log error, and res.send the status of 500% error code. Oh, okay. So I'm here, and then the next thing I want to do is I want to import cron. Node cron. Then the next thing I want to do is I'll say schedule. I'll just say const task is equals to schedule. Oh, sorry, did I say schedule? I'll say cron dot, what does cron have for us? Schedule, yes. Wow. Okay, then I'll just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the first thing is the expression. The next thing is what to do, right? So expression first, what I want to happen, right? Then the next one is what sorry, the expression is like, for example, the time I want it to happen, or the scheduling the time and dates that I want that expression, or that I want something to happen. And then the callback is what I want to actually happen, right? So somewhere it's inside this schedule, there's a place that's it's calling this callback function. So I'll say console.log I'm saying hello, and then I'll just res.send that's a response to the user telling him CRON job set successfully. Then the next thing I want to do is console.log the task. So I think it's yeah, task.id, right? Then the next one I want to create is the put. So now it depends on you. Do you want them to be able to stop the task without deleting it, or as soon as you stop a task, you must delete it if you are putting a put? You can split it. You can have a delete route and a put route. So maybe I'll say router.post, and I'll say stop. I'll say put, right? So stop, and then RQ, RES, let me for next. Try catch. Please come up. Q. Let's do this here again. Then what I'll do here is I'll just say const, this should be equals to req.body. So I'll just say task ID. Then here I'll say run.stop. Okay, so let me check their documentation again. There should be a way to stop their task. I can't remember. Okay, quick reference, syntax, contributing. So you can create a task, can schedule, you can validate. So let me check the documentation, because there should actually be a way to stop it from running. So just a little bit of time. But then while I'm figuring that, I'll say res.send, and then I'll say message task stopped successfully. So um So I think there is a get task, then we have a task ID dot stop. Aha, I knew there was a way to actually do this. Okay, so you can get a task and then you can stop a task. You can even break this. You can break it, so you can say task should be equals to CRON task. Then you can say if there's no task, then you might want to do something there. Maybe res dot status of 44 dot send maybe a message saying no task found. And then if there is a task, which means that won't be executed, so you want to say task dot stop, right? Maybe if you want them to be able to start a task, you can create another route for them to do task dot start, because remember there's task dot start, there's task dot stop also. So depending on what you want them to do, you can even make it that they should choose what they want to do. So you could say action, then you could say you can say action, maybe something like that. You could say action is equals to, if action is equals to start, if action is equals to start, then you should be able to start that, right? Else, if it's end or if it's stop, and please, where am I getting, where am I getting the action from? Once this is equals to req dot params, so you say action. So we say if the action is equals to stop, then we would want to stop. Then if it's not start, it's not stop, then we could say res dot 400 invalid action. And remember to always add the return anytime you're doing such a thing. Anytime you're doing this, don't forget to add it. So I just want to be saying hello, and I want you to be able to stop saying hello after every minute and also start it again. Okay, so let me run this already. npm start or npm run dev. So I want to schedule a task. In fact, let me make this even more fun. So I want to say const message should be equals to req.body, and I want to say task should be message. Okay. So then what is happening? It's saying app.use requires a middleware function. Okay, I know why this is happening actually. So I'm supposed to do this here. I'm supposed to say from what? From router. Let me import it from here. So I'd say from router. cron scheduler. So I'll do that. So yes, sorry about if you guys are hearing any background noise, sorry about that. So we have a cron scheduler already, and then everything is going well. So let's see what we can do, right? Yeah, Princeville is interesting actually. Uh, let me put it down here. Okay, so I think I'll just copy this, paste it. I'll say scheduler // schedule. Then the content type would be application /JSON. Then this would be the message. Message would be hello, ladies and gentlemen. Then I'll post that. So doing that, you see, the task, right, has been set successfully, and this is the task ID. And I've copied it. And if we wait for 1 minute, we should see it print that task, right? It should print it after 1 minute. It should print it. So while we are waiting for it to print, let us try the other endpoints. So let me just paste the task there. Then I'll just copy this again. Aha, so task, hello ladies and gentlemen. So it's working, right? So this would be a push request, and it would be a push request to scheduler / and sorry, this is going to happen every 1 minute, after every 1 minute, after every 1 minute. Okay, so I picked the task ID from here, from the what's it being called? From the console. Remember that I did, so let's come back here. Remember that I did a console.log task ID here. So this console.log task ID is what is making it log out the task ID there. Okay, so the next one I did was action and then action here. So it's still printing. Yay! Okay, what's the what's the next thing to do? And I feel we need to create another task. So npm start. Oh, sorry, npm run dev. So we'll try adding a new task, and then we'll also stop the task and see what's going on, what's going. So this is taking time to start up. Okay, so it's connected finally. Uh, so let's continue actually. Okay, so let's try adding a new one, right? Uh, so I guess this is happening because VS Code didn't shut down properly the last time it shut down. Uh, so I have to restart my VS Code again. Sorry, guys. Um, VS Code didn't shut down properly. That's why I'm having that issue. Um, let me open it again. So let me share my screen. I've been able to restart it. Right, and now it is showing the requests up here, which is what I'm looking for actually. Showing that request button. Okay. Um, so let's schedule this. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, yeah, and then we get a new task ID. And copy that new task ID and hold it here for the meantime. And so if we need to go over what I did, right? Um, I created an endpoint, two endpoints. One is to create a task, right? And I just used that endpoint. So the task that is going to be created will run after every 1 minute, right? Then the task is just simply logging up a message I sent, and then I just printed out the task ID so that I could use that to stop and resume the task at any time. So you see, it has printed that hello, ladies and gentlemen. And I can also resume the task. Sorry, I can stop the task and resume it anytime. So I just wanted to show for the second time before I stop it. So to stop it, of course, now you've learned something. To schedule a task, you schedule, and once you schedule a task, it's automatically started. Okay. Then to stop a task, you first get the task ID, or you get the task by its ID, and then, of course, I checked if the task exists or not, right? Then once I get the task, I can decide to start it or stop it. So if I stop it, it won't run again. So I could do this, could come here and say, I want to stop this particular task. So if I say put, so the task has been stopped successfully, right? And since I've stopped it, it's not going to continue printing the hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to do that anymore, except I come back and start it again, right? And this is a task that happens at intervals, right? It happens at intervals. So you can stop it, you can start it and the rest. But then what if you wanted a situation where the uh the user that's making that request can schedule a time and a date for a task to happen, right? So let's make that happen. Let's make that possible. Let's go and write um a function to do so, right? So this is what we could do. We could say, so we could do something like this. We could say dates, right? And then I could have an if statement saying if there is a date, right? Then something should happen. But else, if there's no date, then I want to be running that task for the next, like every 1 minute, right? And so what you might want to do now is since you would have, remember that this task now will be blocked scope. It will be only accessible inside this block. So what you want to do is let task, and then you set tasks that way so that at the end of the day, this task will be assigned to the value of task here. Then we could do something here, right? What we could do here is, if there is a date, right? The first thing we would want to do is to create. So we want to, now we are expecting the dates in ISO format, right? Which means it will be the date, colon, the time, or sorry, the date, and then T before the time. So we'll have something like this. We'll say, maybe the date equals to new date, right? Then we pass in the date. In case the date is not, or maybe probably the date doesn't contain a time, and of course if it doesn't contain a time, then it means that we want to execute that by 12 a.m. That's 0000 on that particular day that the date is sent. But if there's a time specified, we want to use that time. Okay, so this dates here, I'm putting this here. Sorry, okay. Okay, right. So now we have this, and then the things we'll want to extract the key features from these dates. For example, we want to extract the time from the dates, which is the seconds, the minutes, the hour. We also want to extract the day, right, for this particular date. Sorry, the day and the month for this particular task to happen. So then say cons, we'll start from seconds. So say seconds is equals to the date, dot get. So now look, all these things are going to help you. All these functions are going to help you. So get seconds is going to get the seconds part of the date. Now let me give you an example of what the date might look like. It might look like 2025 slash maybe 10 swing maybe 5, not 5, 0, 5. Then it could be T, then 10, something like 10. Well, I might not be totally correct, but this would be how it would look. Something like this. A similar date to this sum might contain Z at the end, right? So something similar to this, but whether it's given like this, whether it's given with the Z, I think the Z there means a time zone also, right? Whether it's given like this or not, right? Once you pass it here to the date and then you get the seconds, it will always give you the correct value. So you get the seconds. The next thing you want to get is the minutes. So I could just do this. I'll just say minutes, and it will be get minutes. By the way, let me explain what I'm trying to do again. Now, I want it that the user can say on the 10th of next month by 5 a.m., this particular thing should happen, right? For example, let's say you have an event by the 15th of next month, and you want to send maybe a notification to everybody by 14th of that day, or 14th of that next month. That's a day before the event, maybe on the eve of the event. You can create a schedule that would run, right, and would wait till 14th of that particular month. And then once it is 14th, the particular time, it dispatch all the maybe emails or notification or whatever you want to dispatch to people, and then they would receive it. Okay. And it's always good for you to first test to test if it uses what you're talking about, right? Like, it's good to first test it, right? So that's why the first thing I did was I put this asterisk, asterisk, asterisk to see if it's running, right? So if I was supposed to send emails to like 20 people, I'll use this asterisk, 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 maybe put like 2 emails that belong to me, and then test it to see if it sends the email to me before I can then proceed to writing the normal thing to send to maybe a couple of persons. Okay, so someone is asking, does Google Calendar use this also, right? The short answer is, I don't know. So now, it's possible this can be used on, um, this can be used for that purpose, right? While when people register for an event or mark a day to do something, it can, you can, you can create like maybe 5 reminders. Maybe you can loop 5 reminders. Of course, you can put these cron tags in a loop and say like you should create maybe 5 reminders, maybe 3 days before, 2 days before, then the day maybe 1 hour before, 30 minutes before, and then the day of the activity or something, right? So it's possible that Google is using cron job, right? And it's possible they might be using something else or maybe another library. But the point is that, right, what's if you want to build a platform like that should remind people of something, you can actually use cron job to do it. Okay. So you get minutes. The next thing you want to get is the R. So const R should be equals to the date dot get R. And the next thing you want to get is day of the month, which is the particular day of that month. Come on, please, sorry, let me off this switch before These people blow up my system. Okay. Okay, so we've gotten hour and then we want to get date, which is that particular day. Then the next thing you want to get is the month. Remember that chart I showed you where it starts from seconds to this, to that, and that, and that, right? Then you would want to say month. So now months are zero indexed. So January will have the index of 0, February will have the index of 1, but cron uses takes January, where if you're putting the value for months, it has to start from 1. So 1 would mean January and 2 would mean February. So that means you will do something like this. You'd say the date dot, okay, sorry, the date dot get months plus 1. Then the next thing you want to get is the day of the week. Oh, sorry, did I say day of the week? Nope, you don't need to get day of the week. Because I think day of the week is the last actually you're to get. So let me check it. Okay, so well, day of the week, you don't really need it actually, which is supposed to be the last asterisk. You just need to add as like star there. So at this point, this is what you would then do. You then want to do this. So the first you want to put here is the seconds. That's going to be the first asterisk. Remember in that chart I showed you guys before, the first asterisk is the seconds, right? The second one is going to be the minutes. So say minutes. Then the third one is going to be the R. Okay, this one is minutes. This one is R. Then the next one is the day of the month. Sorry. Day of the month. Then this last one is the month. And then the last one here is going to be an asterisk, right? So this day of the week, I'm still thinking about, because if you want to get day of the week, you just say const or day of the week. So day of the week is like saying, if you want it to be on a Sunday, say Sunday, right? But we already have day of the month here. So day of the month is going to target, for example, if day of the month is 17th, there's no need for you to say Sunday 17th. You get, like, if you want to put Sunday here again, right? Like Sunday, and then you still say the day of the month, it's still okay if you want to do it that way, right? But whether you put day of the week here to be Sunday, right? It doesn't really make much difference. But one tricky thing with using day of the week is that, where is it? So the date dot get day, which is the day of the week. Now, 0 here denotes Sunday. Also, 7 here also denotes Sunday. So Monday is 1. Monday has the value of 1. Tuesday has the value of 2, and so on and so forth. Then Saturday has the value of 6. Sunday has the value of 7 or 0. So we could decide to just log this out right? Console.log, and then I'll just say reminder for this SECMIN, then HR for R, then day of the month, MOMNTH. Okay, cool. So sorry. So this would be a reminder for that. Maybe I could say day of the week. So I don't know if I should write a statement to extract the day of the week. That will be a lot of if and else statements. But then let us schedule this already. Okay. So let me check. So first I'll pass date here. Okay, so I'll just come here and say, oh, okay, I started this again. Wow. Okay. So I'll say that the date should be so it starts with the year 2025. Then the next thing is the month. So we are in the January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, 8th. Today's date is 7th. 7th, then this would be 10, which is Abby. Okay, this would be 202, and this would be 12 because I want to do it the next minute. 12:00. Right, so we have that. I want to do it. I want it to say hello people at that time. Okay, so what is it saying? It's saying reminder, non-sec, non-hour, non-day, day of the week, non. Okay, so an error occurred. Okay, sorry, I didn't put zeros here. So I'll need to change this to 13 because it's actually 12 minutes past 2 at my end. So yeah, cool. So it's correct now, and I didn't put zeros there. Sorry about that. So on the 13th minute of okay. So I'm yet to know if this is actually if this is actually 12-hour for okay, this should be 24-hour format though. Hey, before wait tire. So 2 o'clock is 14, right? 2 o'clock is 14 there. In fact, we can actually know the time. Why am I stressing myself? We could just say node, and then we say new date. Aha, better. So let me come back here, Sha. Okay, it has not still executed. So let me paste that there, and I'll say 00, and then I'll say 14. So I've added that cron job, and let's wait till 14th. Let's wait for like 1 minute for it to show hello people. Ha. So it shows hello people on the 14th. Precisely the 14th minutes by 2 o'clock, it's logged out hello people, right? So let me try it with the other date format actually. Let me try it with the other date format. So I should say 15, 14, 15. So let's see if by 15, that's 15 minutes past 2, it actually logs out. Let's see. If it doesn't log out, it means maybe it's following a different time zone also, or it's following GMT also. I'm crossing my fingers. Ha! It's printed. Yay! All right, don't mind me. I hope you guys have learned something. I hope you guys have learned something. Now I can schedule that, oh, maybe by 6 o'clock today, it should do something. The backend should do something. And as far as this backend keeps running till that time, once it's that time, it is going to do it. You can use this to set a reminder. You can use this to write a reminder for yourself. You know, they ask you, have you set an alarm for something? You're like, yes. They're like, okay, show us an evidence. And you snap this and send to them and be like, you're using cron jobs to do it. That's doing it with your phone is amateur, that you're more professional. You could do that, right? So then there's something else I want to still talk about. I'll just show you this table and then we'll go into unit testing and integration testing. So let's come back here. So this is the last table I want you guys to look at and take note of. Yeah. Right. So if you understand this table, right, and apart from, if you don't understand this table, there are cron generators. If you just go on Google and search cron generator, I think I did that before, you will see a lot of cron generators that you just tell it you want something to happen on a particular day, month, year, and it will just generate the code for you at once. If you don't want to go through the stress of writing all those things I wrote. So if you say a specific time every day, maybe every 6 o'clock, right? Okay, for example, this one is every 10:30, right? Every day at 10:30. So you're saying 30, this 30 is the seconds, this 10 is the hour. Then you're saying every day for every month, for every year. Then this last 30, I can't remember. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, disregard this 30. Disregard it. It's actually from 30 to this point. You're saying every 30 minutes, that's every 10:30 or 10:30 every day, every I think this is week, every week, every year, you want to do something. Then this other one is 30 at Thursday, right? So you're saying every Thursday by 10:30, that's every Thursday, the day. Okay, yeah, this is the day of the week. So every Thursday by 10:30, right? Every every is it week and every month? Yeah, every week and every month you want to do something. Well, this one is saying at by the 7th, right, of every month, every every weekday, right? I think this is going to check every weekday if it's that particular date. So 7th or by 10:30, 7th of every month or of every week of every month, right? You want to do something. While this one is saying, this one is like a one-off thing, right? So this is saying on the 7th, right, by 10:30 on this particular day, and this is what you want to do. You get. So this one will run only once because you specified the month, you specified the, so once you specify the month, it will actually go to that particular month and run it, and then it will run it again. I guess maybe till the next year, that particular month or so. That's when it will run it again. Okay, so that's been exhaustive. Is there any question? Is there anybody that has any question that they would want to ask? Right, so there's one thing I didn't do, right? Which I think you guys can already do on your own, right? Which is maybe if your task has, like, for example, your task has something like a title, message, maybe title, greets, people, something like that. Of course, in your cron router, you can create a cron model, right? Cron model. You can say user, which is the person that owns it. Then you say the title is going to be a string, right? Then you'd say the description is also going to be a string. Description is going to be a string, and it's required, right? And then you'd remove this part. Oh, am I doing this directly on chat? Sorry. So I'm supposed to do all those things here. Right. Sorry about the background. Sorry about the background noise. Uh, so title, then description, then the last one you want to put here is the task ID, right? And of course, you guys know what to do already, right? You can save the date. You can also save the date. So you can say date should be type of date, then required true, right? So doing this now is going to make sure when you want to save, right? Or when you want to do your stuff, just when you finish creating the task, the next thing you want to do is you want to save it. So you can do something like the collection dot save or dot create. Then you pass in the title, you pass in the description, you pass in. So the message could be description. Maybe description could be the message, and then you have task ID, and then you have the dates, right? The date might not be required. If you say default should be null, default should be null, right? So once you do that, default of null, you just know that if the date is not given, which means you want to run that task every 1 minute, right? Then you save it. So now the reason for doing this is in case you want to see a list of tasks, maybe you want to be able to create the database for a list of tasks, and you can then choose a task to stop or choose a task to start. You can create routes where front end can view a list of tasks, and then maybe there are buttons to stop the task and to start the task and the rest. Okay. Right. So basically I'm actually going to stop here. In our next class, we will focus mainly on tests, right? And the reason for that is because I can't continue, right? Where I am is quite noisy, and we will continue in the next class, right? I hope, is there any question? Any question or um any contribution also? I hope you guys have learned a lot. Thank you very much for coming out to today's class, and I'll see you in the next one.